The Emerald Tablet, a forgotten secret of Thoth. The veil between the seen and the unseen has never been as thin as it is in this precise moment. A flickering membrane of light and shadow that separates the weary mind from the eternal radiance of the Absolute. We stand now at the threshold of a doorway that has remained locked for eons, not by a key of iron or gold, but by the density of human forgetfulness. A deep and rhythmic amnesia that has settled over the collective soul like a heavy mist over a silent, ancient lake. Within the heart of every living being, there exists a resonance, a hidden frequency that hums in perfect unison with the spinning of distant pulsars and the breathing of the great cosmic void. Yet we have been taught to listen only to the clamor of the world, to the frantic noise of the temporary and the trivial. To enter into this narrative is to agree to the shedding of that noise, to allow the layers of false identity and worldly concern to fall away like autumn leaves, revealing the skeletal structure of a truth so ancient it predates the very concepts of time and space. You are not merely a listener in this grand design. You are a participant in a celestial reclamation, a journey into the deepest subterranean vaults of the spirit where they all records of our divine origin have been kept safe from the fires of ignorance and the floods of time. Imagine a darkness that is not the absence of light, but a womb of infinite potential, a profound and velvet silence that existed before the first word, of consciousness that realized its own existence, and, in that realization, sparked the first flame of manifestation that would eventually become the universe we inhabit. Among those who walked the halls of this early creation was Thoth, the thrice great master of wisdom, the scribe who dipped his stylus of existence upon plates of indestructible emerald. These tablets were not intended for the casual observer or the seeker of mere curiosities, but were forged as a map for the soul's return to its source, a guide for the alchemical transmutation of the human experience into a divine state of being, a vibration that seeks out the ready heart and begins to restructure the very fabric of one's reality from the inside out, demanding a total and uncompromising devotion to the light of truth. As we descend together into the Halls of Amenti, the air grows heavy with the scent of ancient resins, that feels like a physical embrace from the ancestors who stood where we now stand. These halls are not located in a physical geography that can be charted by maps or satellites, but exist within the subtle dimensions of the Earth's own consciousness, a sanctuary of the great void. To walk these corridors is to step outside the linear progression of history, to see the rise and fall of civilizations as nothing more than the ebb and flow of a single, vast ocean of experience that is constantly seeking to understand its own depth. Every pillar in this temple, soul, patterns that reflect the intricate weaving of energy and matter, showing us that there is no separation between the spirit that animates the stars and the spirit that moves through our own veins. The voice of the scribe echoes through the canyons of time, a resonant sound, directly to the ancient memory stored within our very cells. It tells of a fall from grace that was not a punishment, but a deliberate immersion into the density of matter so that the spirit could know itself through the medium of limitation and form. We are the explorers. We were the ones carrying the light, and the Emerald Tablet is the signal fire that has been lit to guide us back to the shores of our original home. This is the moment of the Great Awakening, the point in the cycle where the density begins to lift and the hidden sun of the inner self, casting a brilliance that dissolves all shadows of doubt and fear. The secrets being revealed are not new inventions, but the recovery of a forgotten heritage, a restoration of the power that belongs to every human being who is willing to claim their sovereignty as a co-creator of reality. Fear, a subtle change in the way the air brushes against your skin and the way the thoughts move through your mind, as if the very atoms of your being are being rearranged into a more harmonious configuration. The words of Thoth act as a catalyst, a spiritual enzyme, allows for the birth of something far more vast and luminous. We are entering into a sacred contract with the infinite, a promise to look beyond the surface of things and to recognize the divine signature in every atom, every blade of grass, and every human face we encounter on our path toward the summit of understanding, a systematic dismantling of the illusions that have kept us bound to the wheel of suffering in a triumphant entry into the light of absolute freedom. Consider the nature of the emerald itself, a stone that represents the life force, where the earthly and the heavenly realms meet in a perfect union of balance. The wisdom of Thoth is centered in this middle ground, teaching us that we do not need to escape the physical world to find the spirit, but rather we must infuse the physical with the spirit. This is the mystery of the incarnation, the reason why we are here in this time and in this place, to act as the conduits through which the infinite can express itself in the realm of the finite. The vibrations of the text are designed to bypass the gatekeepers of the rational mind. Warmth, a sudden expansion, and a deep sense of coming home to a place we never truly left. The records of Amenti speak of the 7 lords of the cycles, the beings who govern the flow of time and the evolution of consciousness, and whose presence is felt as stillness. By aligning ourselves with the wisdom of the Emerald Tablet, we are essentially aligning our personal rhythm with the rhythm of these great masters, stepping out of the frantic and disjointed timing of the modern world and into the majestic and purposeful timing of the cosmos, synchronize with the pulse of the earth, and to see our lives not as a series of random events, but as a carefully orchestrated masterpiece of spiritual growth. The path ahead is illuminated by a light that does not cast a shadow, a clarity that arises from the center, outward, until the entire world is transformed by our gaze. The initiation continues as we realize that the scribe is not a distant figure from a dead past, but a living presence that exists within the high chambers of our own awareness, waiting for us to turn our attention. The light that creates the image. Every word inscribed on the emerald plates is a call to action, a demand for the seeker to rise up and take their place among the masters of the light, to no longer be a victim of circumstance, but a master of destiny. The base metals of our lower nature, fear, greed, and separation, into the celestial gold of love, wisdom, and unity. The fire that performs this work is the fire of a focused and dedicated will, a flame that is fed by the constant contemplation of the divine laws. Life. As the narrative deepens, the listener begins to experience a sense of weightlessness, a detachment from the heavy burdens of the past and the anxious projections of the future, finding instead a profound and grounded presence in the eternal now that stretch out like endless star fields, inviting the soul to explore its own infinite nature without fear or hesitation. We are being shown that the limitations we once believed were solid walls are actually nothing more than curtains of smoke, easily parted by the hand. The scribe beckons us forward, his eyes reflecting the light of 1,000 suns and his voice carrying the authority of one who has mastered the cycles of life and death, offering us the same cup of immortality that he himself has drank from throughout the ages. O night of the soul and the first flush of the cosmic dawn that will eventually bathe the entire world in its healing radiance. The Emerald Tablet is the blueprint for this transformation, a document of such power that its mere presence affects the destiny of the planet, luminaries of the pathway, and to walk through the world as the living embodiments of the forgotten secret that Thoth so carefully preserved for this very moment. The descent is complete, the gates are open, and the wisdom of the ages is now flowing into the open vessels of our spirits. Initiation into the heart of the Absolute. Chapter 1. The Descent into the Halls of Amenti. The silence of the ages is not a void, but a dense, vibrating medium through which the echoes of the primordial world still travel, carrying the weight of a wisdom that has survived the sinking of continents and the shifting of the earth's very axis. To begin the journey into the first of the emerald plates. To begin the journey is to accept a descent that is both physical and spiritual, a plunge into the deep strata of existence where the roots of the soul are entwined with the crystalline heart of the planet itself. I, Thoth the Atlantean, master of mysteries and keeper of records, stand at the gateway of this narrative to guide those whose spirits have grown restless in the shallow waters of the material realm. We begin in the shadow of the great cataclysm, a time when the pride of man had reached its zenith and the foundations of the world began to tremble under the weight of an unbalanced ambition that sought to command the forces of nature without first mastering the forces of the self. The great city of Kir, with its towers of light and its gardens that bloomed with the flowers of a different sun, was being reclaimed by the angry waters, and in that moment of absolute destruction, the task was not merely to survive, but to preserve the light of consciousness from the encroaching darkness of a long planetary winter. It is in this state of transition, between the dying world of the past and the uncertain world of the future, that the descent into the Halls of Amenti becomes a mechanical necessity for the continuation of the human spirit. The halls are not a tomb, but a womb of cosmic energy, a vast subterranean complex that exists in a state of phase shift, resting within the physical earth, yet vibrating at a rate that allows it to remain untouched by the geological upheavals of the surface. To reach this place, one must understand that the descent is a process of refinement, a systematic shedding of the heavy vibrations of fear and attachment that anchor the soul to the cycle of decay. As the waters of the great flood rose to claim the temples and the libraries of Atlantis, I took the chosen few, those whose hearts had been purified in the fires of the higher initiation, and led them toward the secret opening that leads to the heart of the world. The journey through the dark tunnels of the earth is a metaphorical representation of the soul, a representation of the soul's passage through the subconscious mind, where the hidden fears and the forgotten shadows must be faced and integrated before the blue fire of the sanctuary can be witnessed. The air in the deep passages is alive with a static charge, a tingling sensation that signals the presence of the great power currents that flow like light. They flow like rivers of liquid light beneath the crust of the globe. These are the ley lines of the planetary spirit, the energetic meridians that sustain the life of every living creature. And it is here, in the stillness of the deep earth, that these currents converge into a single blinding point of unity. The Halls of Amenti are built upon this. The Halls of Amenti are built upon this convergence, a masterpiece of architectural and energetic engineering that uses the natural magnetism of the earth to create a stable environment where the masters of the cycles can rest and regenerate. As we moved through the corridors, the stone walls seemed to breathe, glowing with a soft, phosphorescent light. The light responded to the rhythm of our thoughts and the purity of our intent. There is no distance in this place, for the concepts of space and time are revealed to be nothing more than convenient fictions used by the mind to navigate the density of the physical plane. The first gate of the descent is the gate of surrender, where the seeker must leave. The seeker must leave behind the arrogance of the intellect and the delusion that the self is a separate and isolated entity. To pass through this threshold is to feel the sudden and overwhelming expansion of the heart, a sensation of being dissolved into a vast and benevolent intelligence that has been watching the drama of human history with patience. History with the patience of the stars. In the center of the first great hall, there sits the throne of the Master, a seat of power that is not occupied by a person, but by a presence, a radiating field of awareness that anchors the light of the central sun into the dark depths of the earth. Around this center, the great cycles of time are measured. They are measured not by the ticking of a clock, but by the slow and majestic pulse of the galaxy itself, a heartbeat that dictates the rising and falling of consciousness across the eons. We are here to witness the opening of the records, to read the living script that is written in the geometry of the crystals and the vibration of the very atoms, the atoms that make up the sanctuary. The emerald plates are the physical manifestations of this vibration, tools of resonance that were created to act as a bridge between the human mind and the divine intellect, allowing the seeker to tune their consciousness to the frequency of the eternal truth. As the script begins to reveal itself, the mind is flooded with images of the early days, when the sons of light first descended into the realms of matter to plant the seeds of a higher awareness. We were the gardeners of the soul, the architects of a destiny that was meant to span across dimensions, and the descent into Amenti was the final act of preservation, the sealing of wisdom. The sealing of the fountain of wisdom until such time as a new race of seekers would be ready to drink from its waters. The darkness of the tunnels is now replaced by a radiance that has no source, a light that seems to emanate from the very air itself, casting a glow that reveals the true nature of the physical body as a garment woven of light and sound. To understand the secret of the descent is to understand that you are never truly lost in the darkness, for the darkness is merely the veil that hides the intensity of the light from those who are not yet prepared to behold it. The halls of Amenti are always open to the one who knows the secret name of the Spirit and who has the courage to walk the path. Who has the courage to walk the path of the heart without looking back at the illusions of the world? Every step taken in the deep corridors is a step toward the center of your own being, a movement toward the realization that you are the scribe, you are the tablet, and you are the wisdom that has been sought through the long night of the soul. The Master beckons you closer, his hand pointing toward the shimmering surface of the great fire that burns in the center of the hall, inviting you to step into the flames and be reborn in the image of the infinite. The transition from the physical world to the energetic world of Amenti is a profound and irreversible shift in perception. A moment where the binary of life and death is seen to be a single, continuous loop of experience. Here, in the stillness of the deep, the masters of the cycles move in a slow and graceful dance of creation, weaving the patterns of the future from the threads of the past and holding the balance of the world in the like palms of their hands. They do not speak with words, but with ripples of intent that move through the field of consciousness like waves across a golden sea, and to listen to them is to feel the restructuring of your own DNA, the activation of the dormant potentials that have been waiting for this precise moment of alignment. You are being prepared for a service that is beyond the scope of any earthly ambition, a task that involves the anchoring of this higher light into the collective mind of humanity, so that the long winter of the soul can finally come to an end. The walls of the halls are lined with the treasures of 1,000 lost civilizations, but the true treasure is the silence that permeates. The silence that permeates everything, a silence that is pregnant with the possibility of all things, and that acts as the canvas upon which the universe is constantly being painted. To dwell in this silence is to find the point of absolute rest, the center of the storm where the chaos of the world cannot reach, and where the clarity of the Spirit is as sharp as a diamond. This is the goal of the first plate, to establish the foundation of the seeker within the sanctuary of the self, so that no matter what storms may rage on the surface of the world, the inner flame remains steady and bright. The descent into Amenti is the discovery of this inner sanctuary. The discovery is the realization that the kingdom of heaven is not a place to be reached in the distant future, but a state of being that is available here and now to those who have the eyes to see and the heart to understand. As we move deeper into the first chapter of our initiation, the imagery of the emerald becomes more vivid, its green light representing the healing and the regeneration that occurs when the human will is aligned with the divine will. The stone is a living entity, a catalyst for the transmutation of the ego into the spirit, and its resonance is felt as a gentle but firm pressure against the forehead, stimulating the center of vision and allowing the seeker to see beyond the veil of appearances. We are learning to read the language of the universe, a language of symbols, numbers, and vibrations that speaks of the underlying unity of all things and the purposeful direction of the great cosmic evolution. There is no more fear, for fear is a product of the belief in separation. And here in the halls, The separation is seen for what it is, a temporary and necessary illusion used for the purpose of individual growth and the expansion of the divine awareness. The final gate of the first hall is the gate of the heart, where the seeker must prove their capacity for unconditional love and their willingness to use the power. Their willingness to use the power they receive for the benefit of all living things. This is the true test of the initiate, the point where the power of the intellect is surrendered to the wisdom of the heart, and where the individual soul is merged with the universal soul in a marriage of light and sound. To pass this gate is to become a master. To become a master of the cycles in your own right, a luminary who carries the torch of Amenti into the dark places of the world, and who acts as a lighthouse for those who are still lost at sea. The chapter ends not with a conclusion, but with a beginning, a wide-open vista of possibility that stretches out before you like a path of starlight. A path of starlight across the dark velvet of the night. You have descended into the depths, you have faced the shadows, and you have found the light that never fails. Now, the work of the transformation begins in earnest as we prepare to turn the page and enter into the second mystery of the emerald plates. Chapter 2. The mystery of the one substance. The realization of the unity of all things is the second great pillar upon which the temple of the Master is built, a foundation that requires the mind to dissolve its long-held obsession with the boundaries of the individual self and the perceived solidity of the physical world. As we stand within the vibrating radiance of the second emerald plate, the voice of Thoth resonates with a clarity that pierces through the layers of material illusion, revealing that everything we perceive as separate and distinct is, in truth, a single flowing ocean of divine energy. This is the mystery of the one substance, the understanding that the stone beneath your feet, the blood in your veins, and the distant fire of the stars are composed of the same light. It is light filtered through different frequencies of vibration and slowed down into the density of form. To understand this is to gain the first true key to alchemy. For if all things are essentially one, then the transmutation of one state into another is not a violation of nature, but a simple rearrangement of the underlying patterns of the mind. The air in the sanctuary now feels. The air feels thicker, more alive, as if the very space between us is a conscious, thinking substance that responds to the subtle movements of our intent and the hidden rhythm of our breathing. We must look past the surface of the world, where the senses provide us with a distorted map of reality based on contrast and division, and instead learn to see with the eye of the spirit. The spirit recognizes the golden thread of connection that binds every atom to every soul. The one substance is not a static material, but a dynamic and intelligent field of potentiality that is constantly folding and unfolding itself into the myriad shapes of the universe, guided by the laws of the great cosmic mind. It is the clay of the Creator, yet it is also the Creator itself. It is a paradoxical truth that the intellect struggles to grasp, but the heart accepts with a deep and silent knowing. When you move your hand through the air, you are not moving through empty space, but through a dense and interactive medium that records your every motion and mirrors back to you the frequency of your own consciousness. This awareness is the beginning of the path. This awareness shifts the focus of the seeker from the manipulation of the external world to the mastery of the internal state, which is the true cause of all visible effects. In the early days of the world, when the light of Atlantis was still a living flame, the initiates understood that the physical body was merely a temporary condensation of this one substance, a vessel created. The vessel was created to hold the fire of the spirit so that it could experience the beauty and the complexity of the material plane. They did not fear the dissolution of the body, for they knew that the essence from which it was made was indestructible and eternal, simply changing its expression as it moved through the cycles of life and death. By focusing their will upon the one substance, they could heal the sick, command the elements, and bridge the distance between worlds, for they operated from the point of unity where all power resides. As you listen to these words, the resonance of the emerald is working to align your own energetic structure with this fundamental truth, breaking down the rigid mental barriers. The barriers have kept you trapped in the belief of lack and limitation. You are being invited to step out of the narrow confines of the personality and into the vastness of the universal self, where the resources of the entire cosmos are revealed to be your own. The mystery of the one substance is deeply entwined with the mystery of the mind, for it is the mind that acts as a prism. The mind acts as the prism through which the white light of the Absolute is broken into the colors of the world. Every thought is a vibration that ripples through the field of the one substance, creating a corresponding form or circumstance in the physical realm, according to the intensity and the clarity of the focus. This is why the scribe insists on the purification of the mind. A scattered and undisciplined intellect creates only chaos and confusion in the sea of potentiality, leading to a life lived in reaction to the shadows rather than in command of the light. To be an initiate is to take responsibility for every wave you create in the cosmic ocean, to understand that you are a co-creator with the infinite and that your primary tool is awareness. The silence of the Halls of Amenti is the laboratory where this work is perfected, a place where the noise of the ego is silenced, so that the subtle melodies of the one substance can be heard and directed with precision. As we move deeper into the resonance of the second plate, the imagery of the great void becomes apparent, that state of absolute stillness from which we rise. The one substance is the first breath of the void, the first movement of consciousness that says, I am. And from that single statement of being, the entire complexity of the dimensions is born. To find the one substance within yourself is to find the point of absolute peace, the center of the hurricane, where you are no longer tossed about by the changing winds of fortune. You are no longer tossed by the demands of the senses. You begin to see that your identity is not found in your name, your history, or your physical form, but in the underlying light that animates them all, a light that is shared by every being you encounter. This realization dissolves the roots of judgment and separation, replacing them with a profound sense of compassion. It replaces them with a recognition of the sacredness that dwells in even the lowliest forms of life. The alchemical process described by Thoth is the process of returning the soul to its original state of purity, where it can once again function as a perfect conductor for the one substance. This requires the burning away of the dross, the heavy and darkened energy accumulated. The energy has been accumulated through lifetimes of identification with the material world and the illusions of the ego. The fire that performs this purification is the fire of truth, a relentless and penetrating light that leaves nothing hidden and that demands the total surrender of everything that is not real. As you stand in the radiance, you can feel this fire working. You feel it stirring the dormant potentials of your spirit and calling you to rise above the limitations of your current state. The journey is not an easy one, for the ego will fight to maintain its grip on the steering wheel of your life. But the reward is a freedom that is beyond the power of words to describe a state of being where you walk as a living expression. Consider the metaphor of the ocean and the waves. While each wave has its own unique height, speed, and shape, it is never separate from the water from which it is formed. When the wave crashes upon the shore, it does not cease to be, but simply returns to the depth of the ocean to be reborn as a new movement. So it is with the human soul and the one substance. We are waves. We are the movements of the infinite, the waves on the cosmic sea, and though we may appear to be separate for a time, our essence is always one with the source. The master is the one who has learned to swim in the depths of the ocean, rather than being battered by the surface waves, who knows the power of the tides, and who can direct their course with their own intent. By anchoring your awareness in the one substance, you become immovable, a pillar of light that stands firm in the midst of the shifting sands of time, providing a point of stability for all those who are still struggling in the surf. The mystery of the one substance also reveals the true nature of abundance, showing us that the universe is not a place of scarcity. The universe is a field of infinite supply that is limited only by our capacity to receive. When you operate from the consciousness of unity, you understand that whatever you give to another, you are giving to yourself, and whatever you withhold, you are withholding from your own expansion. The doors of the sanctuary are wide open, and the treasures of the divine mind. The treasures are laid out before you, waiting for you to claim them not with greed, but with the quiet confidence of an heir who knows their own legacy. You are being taught to think with the mind of the universe, to see the patterns of growth and evolution that are hidden behind the apparent chaos of the world, and to align your own actions with the majestic flow of law. As the second chapter of our initiation draws to a close, the vibration of the emerald plate reaches a peak, creating a sensation of profound lightness and a feeling that the very walls of your room are becoming transparent. You are seeing the world as it truly is, a shimmering web of light, a masterpiece of intelligent design, a playground for the soul's nature. The one substance is calling to you, inviting you to dive deeper into the mysteries of your own being and to discover the power that has been hidden in plain sight since the beginning of time. You have learned that all is one and that you are an integral part of that oneness. Now, the path leads forward into the understanding of the laws of movement and frequency. The one substance begins its magnificent dance of creation. The light is growing brighter, the resonance is deepening, and the voice of the scribe is leading you toward the next gateway of power, where the secret of the eternal vibration awaits your discovery. Stand firm in your new awareness, for you are no longer a seeker wandering in the dark, but a student of light. Chapter 3. The Law of Vibration. The silence of the sanctuary is broken not by a sound, but by a pulse, a rhythmic thrumming that seems to emanate from the very marrow of your bones and the core of every atom in the universe. As we turn our focus to the third emerald plate, Thoth reveals the dynamic engine of the cosmos, the eternal truth that nothing in the vast expanse of existence is truly at rest. For the appearance of stillness is merely a mask worn by frequencies too rapid or too slow for the limited human senses to perceive. Everything from the most massive galaxy spinning in the velvet dark to the smallest particle dancing within the heart of a stone is in a state of perpetual motion, a grand and intricate symphony of vibrations that creates the texture, color, and density of the world. To understand the law of vibration is to grasp the steering wheel of reality itself, for it is through the modulation of frequency that the one substance is shaped into the myriad forms of life, matter, and energy. You are being asked to perceive yourself no longer as a solid object in a static environment, but as a complex field of energy, a living broadcast that is constantly interacting. You are interacting with the infinite waves of the cosmic ocean. The Master speaks of the scales of vibration that stretch from the lowest, densest levels of material manifestation to the highest, most refined planes of pure spirit, where the frequency is so intense that it appears to be absolute stillness. Imagine a wheel spinning with such incredible speed that it looks like a solid disk. Such is the nature of the divine source, a vibration so high that it transcends the concept of motion altogether. Between these two extremes lies the theater of our existence, a realm of varying pitches and tones where every thought, emotion, and physical sensation has its own unique signature in the ether. When you feel the heavy weight of sorrow or the sharp sting of anger, you are experiencing a descent into the slower, more discordant frequencies of the lower planes, whereas the heights of love, joy, and spiritual clarity represent an acceleration of your internal rhythm toward the light of the central sun. To master your life is to learn the art of mental tuning, consciously shifting your internal frequency until it resonates in harmony with the reality you wish. The universe does not respond to what you want, but to the vibration you are. In the ancient temples of the sunken lands, the initiates spent lifetimes learning to listen to the music of the spheres, the underlying harmonic structure that dictates the growth of a crystal, the blooming of a flower, and the evolution of a soul. They understood that a word spoken with the correct intent, a word spoken at the precise frequency, could alter the molecular structure of water or command the very cells of the body to repair themselves. For they were not acting upon an external object, but interacting with a shared field of vibration. This is the secret behind the sacred chants and the words of power found in the emerald tablets. They are not mere symbols, but sonic keys. Sonic keys designed to unlock specific chambers of the human consciousness and align the seeker with the great laws of the cosmos. As you listen to this narrative, the resonance of the third plate is acting as a tuning fork for your own energetic field, gently vibrating away the calcified layers of doubt and limiting beliefs that have slowed your progress and dimmed your inner radiance. The law of vibration also explains the phenomenon of attraction, for like frequencies are naturally drawn together by a magnetic necessity that governs all of creation. You are a living radio station, constantly transmitting the state of your inner world into the surrounding field, and that field inevitably reflects back to you the people, circumstances, and events that match. It reflects what matches your broadcast. If your frequency is tuned to the station of lack and fear, you will find yourself surrounded by evidence of that reality, not because the universe is punishing you, but because you are resonating in that specific octave. To change your life, you must first change your pitch, raising your awareness through the contemplation of higher truths. Raise your awareness through the practice of unwavering focus until your entire being hums with the energy of abundance and peace. The scribe reminds us that we have the power to choose our vibration at every moment, regardless of the chaos that may be swirling on the surface of the world. For the center of our being is an eternal flame that vibrates at the frequency of the Absolute. Consider the nature of light and sound, which are but different octaves of the same universal vibration, manifesting to our senses as color and music. Just as a prism can break white light into a rainbow, the human mind breaks the unified field of the spirit into the diverse experiences of the physical world. The deeper you descend into the mysteries, the more you realize. The boundaries between your mind and the universe are porous, a series of energetic filters that can be adjusted through the application of the will. Thoth teaches that the body itself is a temple of sound, with each organ and each center of energy, the seven seals having its own perfect note that must be kept in tune for the whole to function in health and harmony. When the vibration of the spirit is allowed to flow unimpeded through the vessel of the body, the result is a state of vitality and clarity that makes the initiate appear to glow with an inner light, for they have become a transparent conductor for the high frequencies of the divine mind. The mastery of vibration also grants the initiate the power of protection for a high field. A high-frequency field acts as an impenetrable shield against the lower vibrations of negativity and discord. Just as darkness cannot exist in a room flooded with light, the shadows of the world cannot find a foothold in a consciousness that is firmly anchored in the higher octaves of the spirit. By consciously elevating your vibration, you create a sanctuary around yourself. You create a sanctuary that is untouched by the frantic energy of the masses. You become a pillar of stability in a shifting world, a source of light that others can look to when they are lost in the slower frequencies of confusion and fear. This is not an act of withdrawal from the world, but a profound engagement with it. For from this high vantage point, you can act with precision. You act knowing that you are working with the underlying causes of existence rather than fighting with the temporary effects. As we move toward the center of the third mystery, the scribe reveals that even death is merely a shift in vibration, a transition from the dense frequency of the physical body to the more subtle and rapid frequencies of the astral and spiritual realms. There is no end to the song of the soul, only a change in the key and a movement into a different movement of the cosmic symphony. Those who have mastered the law of vibration during their earthly life can navigate this transition with full consciousness, moving through the gateways of light with the same ease as one walking from one room to another. They have learned that the spirit is the master of the form, and that the form must always follow the lead of the spirit's vibration. This realization removes the sting of mortality and replaces it with a sense of eternal adventure, a knowing that we are citizens of a multidimensional universe that is infinitely vast and infinitely responding to the call of our own consciousness. The emerald plate glows with an intense violet light as these truths are integrated into your awareness, a color that represents the highest frequency of the visible spectrum and the point of transition into the unseen. You are being prepared to see the world not as a collection of things, but as a shimmering web of light and sound, a masterpiece of vibration being composed. A masterpiece constantly being composed by the great architect of the universe. Every breath you take, every word you speak, and every thought you think is a contribution to this grand composition, and you are now being called to become a conscious composer of your own destiny. The laws are fixed and immutable, but within those laws, there is a space of infinite creativity. In that space, you can play the music of your soul and see it reflected in the magnificent theater of the world. To live in harmony with the law of vibration is to live in a state of constant praise and wonder, recognizing the divine melody in the crashing of the waves, the rustling of the leaves, and the silent movement of the stars. It is to know that you are never alone. You are part of a universal chorus that has been singing since the dawn of time and will continue to sing until the stars themselves have faded into the silence of the great void. The third chapter of our initiation is a call to awaken your ears to this celestial music and to begin the process of tuning your own instrument to the pitch of the infinite. You have descended. You have recognized the one substance, and now you have felt the pulse of the eternal vibration. The foundation is complete, and the seeker is ready to move toward the next gateway of power, where the secret of the polarities awaits to reveal the balance of the world. The scribe Thoth remains at your side, his presence a steadying frequency that helps you maintain focus. He reminds you that the path of the luminary is one of constant refinement, a daily practice of raising the pitch of your life until you become a perfect resonance for the light of Amenti. The words of the tablets are echoing in the secret chambers of your mind, restructuring your thoughts and clarifying your vision, preparing you for the moment you step out of shadows, preparing you to walk the earth as a master of the light. The vibration is rising, the light is intensifying, and the journey continues into the heart of the mystery, where the true nature of power and the secret of the cosmic balance are about to be unveiled. Stand tall in the radiance of your own awakening spirit, for the song of the universe is your song and heritage. Chapter 4. The Pillars of Polarity. The resonance of the emerald chambers shifts once more, moving from the rhythmic pulse of vibration into a state of profound and balanced tension, as if the very air has become a scale upon which the forces of the universe are weighed and measured. As we fix our gaze upon the fourth emerald plate, Thoth, the master of the cycles, reveals the secret. He reveals the secret of the dual nature of all manifested things, the eternal truth that in this realm of form, everything possesses its own opposite, and that these opposites are not enemies, but the two ends of the same celestial staff. Light and darkness, heat and cold, love and hate, masculine and feminine, these are the pillars upon which the theater of existence is built, the contrasts. The necessary contrasts that allow the spirit to perceive itself and to experience the richness of its own infinite diversity. To understand the law of polarity is to see through the illusion of conflict and to realize that what the world calls good and evil are merely different degrees of the same underlying reality, separated only by a shift in frequency and a perspective. You are being initiated into the art of the middle way, the path of the neutral observer who stands at the center of the seesaw, unaffected by the wild oscillations of the world, and possessing the power to transmute the lead of the lower poles into the gold of the higher. The Master speaks of the great paradox that identifies the identical. He explains that extremes meet. He explains that all truths are but half-truths, for every statement of reality carries within it the seed of its own contradiction. Imagine a thermometer where the distinction between hot and cold is entirely a matter of degree, with no absolute point where one ends and the other begins. So it is with the human heart and the cosmic laws. The darkness you fear is not a thing. The darkness is not a thing in itself, but simply a lesser degree of light, a temporary shadow cast by the density of your own misunderstanding that can be dissolved in an instant by the rising sun of awareness. By recognizing that opposites are identical in nature, differing only in degree, the initiate gains the power to perform the greatest of all alchemical feats. It is the transmutation of mental states. You no longer need to fight against the darkness or struggle to destroy your weaknesses. You simply focus your will upon the higher pole of the same quality, gradually raising the vibration of your fear until it becomes courage, and your hatred until it is refined into the pure essence of compassion. In the hidden sanctuaries. In the hidden sanctuaries of the past, the seekers were taught that the world of polarity is a magnificent mirror designed to reflect the internal state of the soul, providing a constant feedback loop that allows for the correction and refinement of the spirit. If you find yourself surrounded by discord and strife, it is an indication that your internal scales are tipped. It indicates you are tipped too far toward the pole of separation, and the remedy is not to be found in the manipulation of the external world, but in the restoration of the internal balance. The scribe reminds us that the Master is not one who avoids the poles, but one who knows how to move between them with grace and purpose, using the tension of the opposites for the soul. Use the tension to generate the energy required for the soul's ascent. This is the secret of the vibratory shift, the ability to slide along the scale of polarity at will, choosing the frequency that best serves the divine purpose in any given moment. You are learning to become the master of your own emotional and mental temperature, no longer a victim of the changing winds. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a sovereign ruler of your own internal climate. The law of polarity also reveals the mystery of the sacred gender, the understanding that the masculine and feminine principles are present in every atom and every star, acting as the active and passive forces that drive the engine of creation. The masculine is the spark, the will. It is the outward moving force of direction and command, while the feminine is the womb, the intuition, the inward receiving force of nurturing and manifestation. Within the soul of the initiate, these two forces must be brought into a state of perfect marriage, for power without wisdom is destructive, and wisdom without power is impotent. By balancing these pillars within yourself, you become a complete and self-contained unit of creation, a microcosm of the great cosmic parent who brings forth universes through the union of the one and the many. The emerald plate glows with a light that is both golden and silver, representing this holy union and inviting you to embrace both the strength of your will. Embrace both the depth of your intuition as equal partners in your spiritual evolution. As we move deeper into the fourth mystery, the scribe warns against the trap of judgment, which is the act of choosing one pole over another and declaring it to be the only truth. Judgment creates a wall in the mind, a blockage in the flow of the one substance that leads to stagnation. It leads to the stagnation of the soul and the reinforcement of the ego's illusions. The Master looks upon the world and sees the perfection in the struggle, the necessity of the shadow for the appreciation of the light, and the utility of the storm for the strengthening of the roots. This is the eye of Horus, the vision that sees the whole instead of the parts. The vision recognizes the divine harmony that underpins even the most chaotic expressions of life. To live in the consciousness of polarity is to be at peace with the paradoxes of existence, to know that every ending is a beginning, every failure is a lesson, and every loss is a preparation for a greater gain. The alchemical transmutation is practiced in the mind. The transmutation is practiced in the silent laboratory of the mind, where the initiate learns to observe their thoughts and feelings as objective vibrations on a scale of frequency. When a negative vibration enters the field of awareness, the master does not resist it, for resistance only adds energy to the lower pole. Instead, they acknowledge the presence of frequency. They acknowledge it and then calmly turn their attention to its higher counterpart. If you feel the chill of loneliness, you do not fight the chill. You focus on the warmth of the divine presence that dwells within your own heart, until that warmth expands to fill your entire being. This is the true meaning of turning the other cheek, a spiritual technology of focus. The technology involves shifting the focus from the pole of conflict to the pole of peace, thereby neutralizing the power of the discord. You are the conductor of your own internal orchestra, and you have the authority to decide which notes will be played and which melodies will dominate the song of your life. Consider the nature of the great cycles, the rise and fall. Consider the rise and fall of civilizations and the breathing of the earth itself. All are governed by the rhythmic swing of the pendulum between the poles of activity and rest, growth, and decay. The scribe teaches that while we cannot stop the movement of the pendulum, we can escape its effects by rising to a higher plane of consciousness where the oscillations end. Escape by rising to a higher plane where the oscillations are less extreme. This is the plane of the masters, a state of awareness that sits above the duality of the world, where the soul remains anchored in the eternal stillness of the absolute, even as the body moves through the shifting sands of time. By anchoring your identity in the part of you that never changes, anchor in the I am presence. You become like the hub of a wheel, the silent center around which all the movement of the world turns, but which remains itself perfectly still. The emerald plate now emits a violet radiance that bridges the gap between the red of the earth and the blue of the heavens, a color of transformation and the reconciliation of the opposites. You are being shown that your life is a grand alchemical experiment, a process of blending the disparate elements of your experience into a single harmonious whole that reflects the glory of the Creator. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to practice the art of polarity, to find the hidden light in the darkness, and to use the tension to propel yourself. Use the tension of the moment to propel yourself to a higher level of understanding. There is no more room for the concept of enemy or obstacle, for everything you encounter is revealed to be a necessary part of your own training, a gift from the universe designed to help you master the scales of your own being. The fourth chapter is a call to take your place. The fourth chapter calls you between the pillars of Yakin and Boaz, the two columns that stand at the entrance of the Temple of Wisdom. You are the third pillar, the middle way, the point of integration where the two becomes one, and the darkness is revealed to be the servant of the light. The scribe Thoth watches with an expression of timeless approval as you absorb. He watches as you absorb these truths, for he knows that once you have mastered the secret of polarity, you can never again be a prisoner of the world's illusions. You are becoming a master of balance, a luminary who walks the thin line of the razor's edge with perfect confidence and poise, knowing that no matter how the world may tilt, your center is fixed. Your center is fixed in the heart of the infinite. The light of Amenti is pulsating within you now, clarifying your vision and strengthening your resolve as we prepare to move toward the fifth gateway of power. You have descended, you have found the substance, you have felt the vibration, and now you have balanced the poles. The structure of your temple is rising. The secrets of the rhythms are waiting to be revealed. The journey is intensifying, the wisdom is deepening, and the voice of the Master is leading you ever closer to the ultimate realization of your own divine nature. Stand firm in your center, for you are the bridge between the worlds, and the time has come to cross over into the fullness of your heritage. Chapter 5. The Rhythm of the Tides. The air within the Emerald Sanctuary seems to draw a deep, collective breath, a slow expansion, followed by a steady contraction that mirrors the very movement of the cosmos itself. As we focus our consciousness upon the fifth emerald plate, Thoth, the master of the ages, unveils the secret of the rhythmic flow, the eternal truth. The eternal truth is that everything in the universe moves in a measured sequence, a constant swinging to and fro between the points of manifestation and dissolution. From the massive inhalation and exhalation of the great central sun to the rise and fall of civilizations, the beating of a human heart, and the ebb and flow of the oceans, all existence is governed by a pendulum. The pendulum dictates the timing of the world. To understand the law of rhythm is to recognize that stability is found not in the absence of movement, but in the mastery of the swing, learning to navigate the inevitable cycles of life without being crushed by the weight of the downward curve. You are being initiated into the wisdom of the seasons, the understanding of growth. You understand that for every time of growth, there must be a time of rest, and for every moment of high tide, there is a necessary return to the depths of the sea. The Master speaks of the great cycle of the ages, the vast stretches of time during which the consciousness of humanity rises to the heights of spiritual illumination and then descends into the dark valleys. The consciousness descends into the dark valleys of material density. He explains that we are currently witnesses to the turning of the wheel, the moment where the downward swing has reached its limit, and the energy of the universe begins its inevitable climb back toward the light. This is why the emerald tablets have been revealed in this age. They are the anchors. The tablets are anchors for those who wish to rise with the tide, the tools for those who understand that they do not have to be victims of the mass rhythm. While the pendulum of the world may swing toward chaos and forgetfulness, the initiate learns the art of mental neutralization, a spiritual technology that allows the soul to rise to a higher plane of awareness, a higher plane where the swing of the pendulum still exists, but no longer carries the power to disturb the inner peace. It is the secret of being in the world, but not of it, maintaining an internal sanctuary of stillness, even as the external tides of fortune and misfortune roar and crash around you. In the ancient schools of the Nile, the seekers were taught to observe. The seekers were taught to observe the rhythms of their own bodies and minds, recognizing that the fluctuations of their moods, their energy levels, and their clarity were not random accidents, but reflections of the universal law. They understood that when the tide of the mind is low, it is not a time for despair, but a time for deep introspection and strength. It is a time for the gathering of strength, much like the seeds that wait beneath the winter snow for the first touch of the spring sun. By aligning your personal rhythm with the divine rhythm, you cease to fight against the current of your own life, and instead learn to use the energy of the flow to propel yourself toward your goals. The scribe reminds us that the Master does not seek to stop the pendulum, for motion is the law of life, but rather seeks to transcend its effects by anchoring the identity in the part of you that remains unmoved, the eternal observer who watches the tides come and go with a gaze of absolute clarity and compassion. The law of rhythm also governs the alchemical. The law governs the path of the alchemical transformation, where the soul must pass through successive stages of heating and cooling, dissolution and coagulation, until the pure essence is finally revealed. Each chapter of your life is a movement in this grand symphony, and every low point is a preparation for a high point of even greater intensity and beauty. The emerald plate glows with a soft, pulsing light that resonates with the rhythm of your own breathing, inviting you to let go of the frantic need to control every outcome and to trust instead in the majestic timing of the infinite mind. When you stop resisting the natural cycles of your growth, you find that the universe begins to work with you, providing help. The universe provides the right opportunities and the right connections at exactly the precise moment they are needed. This is the state of grace, the effortless flow that arises when the human will is harmonized with the cosmic law, allowing you to walk through the world with the poise of a king and the humility of a servant. As we move deeper into the fifth mystery, the scribe reveals the connection between rhythm and the sacred geometry of time, showing us that the history of the world is not a straight line of progress, but a spiral that continually returns to the same points of tension, but at a higher level of awareness. Every challenge you face is a familiar vibration, a rhythm you have encountered before in different forms. Your task is to respond with a new level of wisdom and a higher frequency of love. You are being trained to see the patterns in the apparent randomness of life, to hear the melody beneath the noise, and to recognize the divine order that orchestrates the movement of every leaf and every star. There is no more room for the concept of failure or of a setback. Everything is seen as a necessary part of the rhythmic preparation for the soul's ultimate victory. The mastery of rhythm requires a profound level of patience and a willingness to dwell in the silences between the notes. For it is in the silence that the next movement of the spirit is born. Most of humanity is terrified of the low tide, the moments of quiet. Humanity is terrified of the moments of emptiness and quiet, and they fill their lives with noise and distraction to avoid facing the depth of their own being. But the initiate welcomes the silence, for they know that the void is the womb of creation, and that the rhythm of the spirit requires periods of withdrawal to process the experiences of the world. The withdrawal allows to process experiences and to realign with the source. By embracing the low tide, you gain the power to ride the high tide to heights that others cannot even imagine. For your roots are deep in the soil of the absolute, and your vision is fixed on the eternal horizon. You are learning to move with the grace of the spheres, to dance the dance. You dance the dance of the universe without losing your step, and to find the music in the very heartbeat of the cosmos. Consider the nature of the great breath, the cosmic prana that sustains the life of all things. It is the fundamental rhythm of the universe, the pulse of the one substance as it moves through the scales of vibration and polarity. The scribe teaches that by mastering your own breath, you can gain a measure of control over the rhythms of your mind and the state of your energetic field. For the breath is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. When the breath is rhythmic and deep, the mind becomes calm, and the spirit is able to perceive the higher truths with greater clarity. You are being taught to breathe with the universe, to feel the expansion of the light within you as you inhale, and the release of all that is old and redundant as you exhale, creating a continuous loop of renewal and growth. The emerald plate now emits a golden radiance that synchronizes with the violet light of the previous gateways, creating energy. It creates a shimmering field of energy that wraps around you like a royal robe. You are being shown that your life is a magnificent work of art, a masterpiece of timing and rhythm that is being painted by the hand of the Creator through the medium of your own consciousness. Every moment of joy and every moment of sorrow are but different colors on the palette. The master is the one who can use them all to create a vision of absolute beauty and profound meaning. There is no longer any fear of the future or regret for the past, for you are anchored in the rhythm of the eternal now, the point where all cycles converge and where the power of the infinite is fully present. The fifth chapter is a call to surrender. It is a call to surrender to the divine flow, to stop pushing against the tides of life, and to start surfing the waves of your own evolution with confidence and joy. The scribe Thoth stands before you as a living example of this mastery, a being who has moved through countless ages and cycles without ever losing his connection to the still point of the absolute. He reminds you that you are a child of the cycles, a being made of rhythm and light, and that your destiny is to become a master of the flow, a luminary who can navigate the storms of the world with an unshakable inner peace. You have descended, you have recognized the substance, you have felt the vibration, you have balanced the poles, and now the rhythm. You have mastered the rhythm. The path is clear, and the secrets of the causes and effects are waiting for you at the next gateway of power. The light of Amenti is vibrating with an intense clarity now, illuminating the deeper reaches of your soul and revealing the magnificent architecture of your own divine potential. You are standing at the midpoint. You are at the point of perfect equilibrium, where the wisdom of the past and the possibilities of the future meet in a single glowing moment of awareness. The journey continues, the wisdom deepens, and the voice of the Master is leading you ever closer to the heart of the Absolute, where the final mystery of your own identity awaits its unveiling. Stand strong in the rhythm of your own awakening, for you are the music of the stars, and the time has come to play your part in the grand symphony of the infinite. The tides are rising, the light is expanding, and the seeker is becoming the master of the cosmic dance. Chapter 6. The Law of Cause and Effect. The echoes of the cosmic rhythm fade into a profound and heavy silence, a stillness that carries the weight of an inescapable justice and the absolute precision of a universe that forgets nothing and overlooks no movement of the mind. As we direct our focus toward the sixth emerald plate, Thoth, the eternal scribe and arbiter of the divine records, unveils the iron law. He unveils the iron law of the cosmos, the truth that every action, every word, and every fleeting thought is a seed cast into the fertile soil of the infinite, destined by necessity to bear its own fruit. There is no such thing as chance, for what the world calls luck or accident is merely a name for a law not yet recognized, a hidden thread in the tapestry of fate that connects the present. It connects the present moment to a forgotten cause initiated in the shadows of the past. To understand the law of cause and effect is to step out of the role of the victim and into the mantle of the sovereign, realizing that the circumstances of your life are not a series of random collisions, but a meticulously ordered reflection of your own internal state. You are being initiated into mechanics. You are being initiated into the mechanics of creation, where the will of the Master acts as the primary cause, shaping the fluid substance of reality into a kingdom of order, purpose, and light. The Master speaks of the great chain of causation that stretches from the highest heavens to the lowest depths of the earth, a web of interconnected events where nothing is isolated and everything. Nothing is isolated, and everything is a consequence of something that came before. He explains that most of humanity is like a leaf caught in a storm, reacting to the effects of the world without ever understanding the causes they themselves have set in motion through their desires, their fears, and their unconscious beliefs. The initiate, however, learns to trace the effect back to the cause. The initiate stands at the center of their own world and chooses with deliberate intent the seeds they wish to plant in the garden of their destiny. By mastering the internal cause, the quality of your thoughts, and the frequency of your intent, as you have learned in the previous halls, you gain the power to dictate the external effect, for the world has no choice but to mirror the command. The world mirrors the command of a focused and unified will. This is the true meaning of spiritual responsibility, the understanding that you are the author of your own story, and that every chapter you write is a testament to the power of your own consciousness. In the ancient temples of the sunken lands, the seekers were taught that the law of cause and effect is the foundation. The law is the foundation of all morality and all power, for it ensures that no energy is ever lost, and that every movement of the spirit is eventually balanced by a corresponding movement of the world. They understood that to harm another was to harm oneself, for in the field of the one substance, there is no other, only the self encountering its own reflections across the poles. The emerald plate glows with a steady, penetrating light that acts as a mirror for your soul, inviting you to look honestly at the patterns of your life and to recognize the causal links between your inner landscape and your outer reality. When you stop blaming the stars, the gods, or your fellow men for your misfortunes, you reclaim the power that you had previously surrendered. You reclaim power and you begin the work of the Master, which is the conscious direction of the great causal currents. You are being taught to think in centuries and eons, understanding that the work you do today is the foundation for the glory of tomorrow. and that every act of kindness, every moment of clarity, and every victory over the ego is a cause that will ripple forever. The law of cause and effect also reveals the secret of the great compensation, the cosmic accounting system that ensures that the universe is always in a state of perfect equilibrium. For every output of energy, there must be an equal and opposite return. For every sacrifice, there is a gain. And for every debt of the spirit, there must be a payment in the coin of experience. The scribe reminds us that the master does not seek to escape the law, but to use it for the fulfillment of the divine plan, acting with such precision and harmony that their every movement becomes a cause for blessing and evolution. By aligning your will with the cosmic will, you become a conscious channel for the highest causes, allowing the power of the Absolute to flow. The power of the Absolute flows through you and into the world without distortion or resistance. This is the state of the unmoved mover, the one who initiates the cycles of creation from a point of absolute stillness and who watches the unfolding of the effects with a gaze of eternal wisdom and detached love. As we move deeper into the sixth mystery, the scribe unveils the mind. The scribe unveils the connection between cause and the sacred geometry of the mind, showing us that our habitual thought patterns create energetic blueprints in the ether that the universe is compelled to fill with material form. If your mind is a labyrinth of doubt and conflict, the effects you manifest will be a reflection of that confusion, leading to a life of friction. If you build within your mind a temple of clarity, strength, and beauty, the law of cause and effect will work tirelessly to manifest that temple in the physical world, bringing to you the resources, the people, and the opportunities that match the magnificence of your internal vision. You are being trained to become a master architect of the soul, one who understands materials. You understand the properties of the spiritual materials they are working with, and who knows how to lay a foundation that can withstand the tests of time and the shifting rhythms of the world. There is no limit to what can be achieved when the cause is pure and the will is steady, for the universe is a responsive and intelligent partner in the grand alchemical experiment. The mastery of cause and effect requires a profound level of mindfulness, a constant vigilance over the gateways of the senses and the movements of the heart, for even the smallest cause can lead to a massive effect over the course of the cycles. Most of humanity lives in a state of spiritual sleepwalking, throwing stones into the pond of life and then wondering why the water is. The initiate walks with soft steps and a clear mind, knowing that every action carries a weight of consequence. By choosing the path of the luminary, you are choosing to become a source of positive causation in a world that is often lost in the cycles of reaction and pain. You are learning to act from the center of your being rather than reacting from the periphery of existence. You hold the vision of the highest good even when the immediate effects seem difficult or obscure. The scribe reminds you that the harvest is always certain, and that if you plant the seeds of light with a patient and trusting heart, the radiance of the result will eventually illuminate the entire horizon of your existence. Consider the nature of the Word, the Logos of all. The Logos was in the beginning and acted as the primary cause for the birth of the heavens and the earth. It is the ultimate expression of the law of cause and effect, the vibration of the divine intent, manifesting as the structure of the cosmos. The scribe teaches that your own voice and your own words are extensions of this primordial power, and that when you speak in truth, when you speak with the authority of the Spirit, you are initiating causes that have the power to heal, to transform, and to create. You are being taught to use your speech with the same reverence and precision as a master craftsman uses his tools. For a word spoken in truth is a cause that can move mountains and alter the course of history. Every decree you make is a command. Every decree you make within the sanctuary of your own mind is a command to the law, and the law will unfailingly bring about the effect that corresponds to the weight and the clarity of your declaration. The emerald plate now emits an emerald gold radiance that pulsates with the rhythm of a deep, unshakable certainty, a light that anchors the wisdom into your awareness. You are being shown that your life is not a series of accidents, but a magnificent and logical progression of events designed to lead you to the ultimate realization of your own divinity. The law of cause and effect is not a prison, but the very mechanism of your freedom, for it gives you the power to change your world by changing yourself, and to build a destiny of origin. To build a destiny that is worthy of your celestial origin. There is no more room for regret or for fear of the future, for you have the keys to the laboratory of creation, and you know how to work with the forces that govern the manifestation of all things. The 6th chapter of our initiation is a call to take full command of the causal currents of your life, to stop the effect. It is a call to stop being the effect and to start being the cause. The scribe Thoth stands before you as the eternal witness to the justice and the beauty of the law, a being whose every movement is a masterpiece of intentional creation and whose existence is a cause for the enlightenment of all who seek the light. He reminds you that you are a creator in training of the gods. He reminds you that you are a child of the infinite who is learning to handle the tools of the gods, and that the universe is watching your progress with an infinite and loving patience. You have descended. You have recognized the substance. You have felt the vibration. You have balanced the poles. You have mastered the rhythm. And now you have understood the cause of power. The structure of your power is nearly complete, and the secret of the sacred gender is waiting for you at the next gateway of the emerald light. The light of Amenti is burning with a fierce and holy intensity now, stripping away the last vestiges of your illusions and revealing the absolute order and the majestic purpose that underpin every moment of your existence today. You are standing at the threshold of the higher mysteries, the point where the laws of the world and the laws of the spirit meet in a perfect and powerful union of understanding. The journey continues, the wisdom deepens, and the voice of the Master is leading you ever closer to the final realization that you are the cause of all that you see and the master of all you are. Stand tall in the certainty of the law, for you are the weaver of the cosmic tapestry, and the time has come to create a pattern of light that will shine throughout the ages. The causes are set, the effects are certain, and the seeker is becoming the master of his own eternal destiny. Chapter 7. The Sacred Gender. The vibration within the emerald halls reaches a state of exquisite and profound equilibrium, a harmonic resonance that speaks of the deep union between all dualities and the birth of life from the marriage of seemingly opposing forces. As we direct our focus toward the 7th emerald plate, Thoth, the thrice great messenger of the gods and the keeper of the balance, he unveils the mystery of gender, the eternal truth that the principles of masculine and feminine are present in every aspect of creation, from the spinning of the smallest atom to the breathing of the most vast galaxy. This is not a matter of the flesh or the temporary roles played by mortal beings in the theater of time, but a fundamental law of energy that dictates how the one substance. It dictates how the one substance moves, creates, and sustains itself across the dimensions. To understand the law of gender is to possess the power of generation, for it is only through the conscious alignment of these two primordial forces within the laboratory of your own soul that you can give birth to the miracles of the spirit and manifest the light of Amenti in the world of form. You are being initiated into the sacred laboratory where the will and the intuition meet, where the spark of intent finds the womb of potential, and where the word is made flesh through the alchemy of divine love. The Master speaks of the masculine principle as the force of direction, the outgoing spark of will that provides the pattern, the command, and the active impulse that penetrates. It initiates the cycles of growth. It is the solar energy, the fire of the intellect, and the unshakable determination that says, I will, acting as the lighthouse that guides the ship of the soul through the shifting mists of the material world. Yet the scribe explains with a voice that carries the softness of 1,000 moons that the masculine without the feminine is a sterile flame. It is a force of destruction, that burns without purpose and acts without the grounding of wisdom or the beauty of form. The feminine principle is the great receiver, the cosmic womb of the mother that nurtures the spark, provides the substance for the manifestation, and breathes the life of intuition and creativity into the blueprints of the will. It is the lunar energy and water. It is the water of the heart and the expansive field of potential that allows the seeds of thought to grow into the fruits of reality, ensuring that the creation is not just a structure of logic, but a living, breathing expression of the divine harmony. In the ancient temples of the starborn, the seekers were taught that the path to mastery lay not in the suppression of one force. It lay in the perfect and conscious marriage of both within the individual consciousness. They understood that every human soul, regardless of the body it inhabits, contains the full spectrum of the masculine and feminine energies, and that the internal conflict and suffering of the world are but reflections of the war between these two principles in the hearts of men in the world. By purifying the will and opening the intuition, the initiate becomes a balanced conductor for the power of the Absolute, allowing the masculine intent to be guided by the feminine wisdom, and the feminine creativity to be directed by the masculine focus. The emerald plate glows with a light that is neither gold nor silver, but a shimmering, iridescent fusion of both principles. It represents the state of the rebus, or the divine hermaphrodite, the soul that has reconciled its own internal dualities and returned to the state of primordial unity. You are being invited to stop looking for completion in the world outside and to find the sacred marriage within the sanctuary of your own being, for it is there that the true fountain of youth and power. It is the source of all creative power to be found. The law of gender also governs the process of spiritual manifestation, revealing that every idea or desire you hold in your mind must pass through a period of gestation before it can be born into the physical world. The masculine will initiates the thought, planting the seed of intent into the fertile soil of the feminine mind. The seed is nurtured in the subconscious, where it is protected and given form by the underlying rhythms of the soul. The scribe reminds us that many fail in their alchemical works because they lack the patience of the feminine or the steady focus of the masculine, attempting to pull the fruit from the tree before the season is right, or allowing their will to waver so soon. They allow the will to waver before the seed has had time to take root. To be a master of generation is to understand the timing of the spirit, to hold the vision with the unwavering strength of the sun, while trusting in the unseen processes of the earth with the quiet confidence of the moon. This is the art of effortless action, where the creation unfolds with the grace. The creation unfolds like a blooming flower, because the Creator has aligned their internal polarities with the great law of the universe. As we move deeper into the seventh mystery, the scribe unveils the connection between gender and the sacred geometry of the energy centers, showing us how the fire of the spirit rises through the pillars of the spine to ignite the mind. The fire rises to ignite the lamp of the higher mind. The two serpents of the ancient staff, the Ida and the Pingale, represent the lunar and solar currents. That must be balanced and entwined to open the third gate of vision and to allow the soul to perceive the realities beyond the veil. When these energies are out of alignment, the seeker experiences the blockages of the ego. The seeker experiences distortions of desire and fragmentation of the intellect. But when they meet in the center of the heart, they ignite the triple flame of power, wisdom, and love that is the signature of the true master. You are being trained to feel these currents moving within you, to recognize the moments when you are pushing too hard with the masculine will today. You recognize when you are drifting too far into the feminine passivity, and to bring yourself back to the point of balance where the two become a single, irresistible force of light. The mastery of gender requires a total shedding of the social and cultural illusions that have defined the masculine and feminine in terms of power, weakness, or competition in this world. In the eyes of the Absolute, these forces are equal, eternal, and inseparable. The master looks upon the world and sees the dance of the two in every interaction, the push and pull of the energy that keeps the stars in their orbits and the atoms in their shells. And they participate in this dance with a sense of sacred play and profound reverence for the mother within. By honoring the feminine within, you gain access to the deep wells of intuition, the voices of the ancestors, and the direct knowing of the spirit that bypasses the slow and clumsy steps of the rational mind. By honoring the masculine within, you gain the clarity of purpose, the strength of character, and the ability to manifest your highest ideals without any fear. You manifest ideals in the world of men without fear or compromise. You are the weaver and the loom, the singer and the song, and your life is the child born of this eternal union. Consider the nature of the word, which we have seen as the primary cause, but now we see it as the offspring of the divine gender, the intent of the father and the love of the mother. The father and mother combine to produce the vibration of the sun, which is the manifested universe itself. The scribe teaches that your own creative acts are mirrors of this cosmic process, and that when you create from a state of internal balance, your works possess a life and a light of their own that can inspire and heal the world. You are being taught to treat. You treat your thoughts and your projects as sacred offspring, giving them the attention, the protection, and the nourishment they need to grow into their full potential. There is no more room for the sterile works of the ego, which are born of fear and separation. Everything you do must be an act of love, a contribution to the grand alchemical marriage of the world. It is the evolution of the world toward the light. The emerald plate now emits a rose-gold radiance that fills the hall with a warmth that is both comforting and empowering, a light that dissolves the last traces of the war between the sexes and the conflict between the mind and the heart. You are being shown that you are a complete and sovereign being of the stars. You are a child of the stars who carries the full power of the divine parents within your own breast, and that you have the authority to create worlds of beauty and order through the mastery of your own internal gender. The law of gender is the key to the final transmutation, the process of turning the base metals of the separate self into the celestial gold of unity. It is the gold of the unified spirit, and it is a path that requires the total surrender of the ego to the higher wisdom of the marriage. The 7th chapter of our initiation is a call to become the master of your own creative energy, to stop being a house divided against itself, and to start being a temple of the unified light. The scribe Thoth stands before you. Thoth stands as the bridge between the worlds, a being who has mastered the union of the sun and the moon, and who walks the earth as a living expression of the sacred balance. He reminds you that you are a generator of the infinite, a being made of will and intuition, and that your destiny is to become a conscious co-creator with the Absolute, bringing the harmony. You bring the harmony of the heavens down into the density of the earth. You have descended. You have recognized the substance. You have felt the vibration. You have balanced the poles. You have mastered the rhythm. You have understood the cause. And now you have united the gender. The structure of your divine self is now complete, and the 7 seals of power wait. The 7 seals are waiting for you at the next gateway of the emerald light. The light of Amenti is pulsating with a soft and irresistible power now, illuminating the most hidden corners of your soul and revealing the magnificent potential that arises when the masculine and the feminine are one. You are standing at the threshold of the final 3 mysteries now. It is the point where the laws of the manifest world begin to fade and the direct experience of the divine presence begins to dominate the awareness. The journey continues, the wisdom deepens, and the voice of the Master is leading you ever closer to the realization that you are the father and the mother of your own destiny and the master of the eternal flame. Stand firm in the union of your own being, for you are the bridge across the void, and the time has come to walk into the light of your full celestial heritage. The marriage is consummated, the power is generated, and the seeker is becoming the master of the creative fire. Chapter 8. The Seven Seals of Power. The air within the emerald vault thickens with an electric anticipation, a shimmering tension that signals the awakening of the dormant fires within the very architecture of the human soul. As we fix our inward gaze upon the eighth emerald plate, Thoth, the eternal guardian of the light and the opener of the hidden ways, unveils the mystery. He unveils the mystery of the seven seals, the truth that the body of man is not merely a vessel of flesh, but a multidimensional temple containing seven gateways of celestial power. These seals are the energetic vortexes that connect the finite mind to the infinite intelligence of the cosmos, the junctions where the vertical current of the spirit meets the horizontal experience of the world. To understand the seven seals is to possess the blueprint of our own divinity, for each gateway represents a specific octave of consciousness and a unique layer of the great cosmic law that must be mastered and integrated into the unified self. You are being initiated into the internal ascent, the climbing of the sacred ladder that leads from the density of the earth to the stars, unlocking the hidden potentials that have been sealed away since the fall of the early civilizations. The Master speaks of the first seal, the foundation of the temple located at the base of the spine, where the primal energy of the earth is anchored and where the survival of the form is ensured. This is the seat of the serpent power, the coiled force of the kundalini that is dormant. The kundalini remains dormant in the majority of humanity, locked away by the heavy vibrations of fear and the obsession with material security. The scribe explains that to open this first gate, the seeker must conquer the illusion of death and the terror of lack, grounding themselves in the absolute certainty that they are eternal beings supported by the infinite resources. Supported by the infinite resources of the one substance. When the first seal is unlocked, the energy begins its upward journey, providing the practitioner with a sense of unshakable stability and a physical vitality that allows the body to become a fit instrument for the higher frequencies of the spirit. It is the root from which all growth emerges, the solid earth of the temple. The solid earth upon which the pillars of the sanctuary must be built if they are to withstand the pressures of the higher initiations. As the light of the emerald plate shifts into a vibrant orange hue, the second seal begins to glow. Located in the sacred center of creation, an emotion where the waters of life flow and where the seeds of manifestation are nurtured in the soul. This is the gateway of the sacred gender we explored in the previous hall, the point where the masculine drive and the feminine receptivity meet to produce the richness of the human experience. Here, the initiate must master the currents of desire and the fluctuations of the emotional body, learning to use the creative fire not for the gratification of the ego, but for divine. Use it for the generation of beauty and the service of the divine plan. When the second seal is purified, the seeker gains access to the deep wells of inspiration and the power to influence the world through the magnetic resonance of their own heart, becoming a conduit for the joy and the abundance of the infinite. It is a center of movement and flow, a place of the soul, a place where the rigidity of the intellect is softened by the fluidity of the soul, allowing for the birth of a truly multidimensional consciousness. The journey continues upward to the third seal, the solar plexus, where the yellow radiance of the sun reflects the power of the individual will and the strength of the personal identity. This is the forge of the alchemist. It is the place where the raw materials of experience are processed and where the heat of determination is used to shape the destiny of the soul. The Master warns that this gate is often blocked by the shadows of power, pride, and the desire to control others, which act as a ceiling that prevents the energy from rising into the higher chambers of the heart. To open the third seal is to surrender the personal will to the divine will, transforming the I of the ego into the I am of the spirit, and recognizing that true power is not found in dominance, but in the alignment with the cosmic law. When this gateway is clear, the initiate radiates a quiet and irresistible authority, a light that illuminates the path for others. It is a light that illuminates without seeking to rule them, and a courage that is born of the knowledge of their own indestructible nature. In the center of the chest, the fourth seal awaits, the emerald heart that acts as the balance point between the lower realms of the earth and the higher realms of the heavens. This is the gate of the heart, the sanctuary of love. It is the sanctuary of unconditional love, and the point of reconciliation for all polarities, where the human and the divine are joined in a holy embrace. The scribe speaks with a voice of profound compassion, explaining that the heart is the true engine of the transformation, the master key that unlocks all other doors and that provides the resonance for the final ascent. To open the fourth seal, one must forgive all that has been, love all that is, and trust all that is to come, dissolving the barriers of the separate self in the ocean of the universal soul. When the heart is open, the seeker sees the world with the eyes of the master, recognizing the divine spark in every living thing and acting as a lighthouse of peace and healing today. Acting as a lighthouse in a world often lost in the shadows of conflict and pain. The fifth seal, the throat center, glows with a brilliant blue light, representing the gateway of the word and the power of conscious expression. This is the center of the Logos, the place where the silence of the spirit is translated into the vibration of sound, and where the truth is spoken, where the truth of the emerald tablets is spoken into the world of form. The master teaches that the words of the initiate must be as pure as the light of the stars and as sharp as the edge of a diamond. For every sound produced by this center is a creative act that reshapes the reality of the speaker and the listener alike. To open the fifth seal is to master silence. To open it is to master the art of silence and the power of decree, speaking only that which is in alignment with the higher laws and using the voice to heal, to uplift, and to command the forces of nature. When this gate is unlocked, the seeker becomes a prophet of the light, a being whose very presence communicates the wisdom of the ages, and whose words carry authority, whose words carry the weight of an inescapable and divine authority. The sixth seal, located in the brow between the eyes, is the gateway of the third eye, the seat of the inner vision, and the point of connection to the higher mind of the universe. This is the center of the gnosis, the direct knowing that transcends the logic of the intellect and allows vision. It allows the seeker to see through the veil of appearances into the hidden heart of all things. The scribe explains that this seal is the lighthouse of the soul, providing the clarity and the foresight necessary to navigate the deep waters of the spiritual journey and to recognize the patterns of the divine geometry in the chaos of the world. To open the sixth seal. To open the sixth seal is to awaken the faculty of intuition to its highest degree, seeing the past, the present, and the future as a single, glowing tapestry of meaning and understanding the thoughts of the Creator as they ripple through the field of the one substance. When this gate is active, the initiate is no longer blinded by the illusions of time and space, but walks the earth with the perspective of the infinite, guided by a light that never fails and a wisdom that is beyond the reach of the mortal mind. Finally, at the summit of the head, the seventh seal begins to open, the crown of the thousand-petaled lotus that connects the individual soul to the absolute source of all that is. This is the gate of the sun. It is the point of total liberation and the destination of the great work, where the human consciousness is finally dissolved into the radiance of the divine presence. The Master speaks of this moment as the alchemical marriage, the return of the prodigal son to the house of the Father, and the ultimate realization that there has never been any separation at all. There has never been any separation between the seeker and the sought. To open the seventh seal is to achieve the state of the Christos or the Buddha, a being who is fully awake and fully divine, walking the earth as a living expression of the infinite light. When this seal is fully unfolded, the light of Amenti flows through the initiate as a blinding torrent, transforming them into a master of the cycles, who is no longer subject to the laws of life and death, but who serves as a guardian of the cosmos. As you stand in the center of the hall, the 7 seals within your own body begin to vibrate in harmony with the emerald plate, creating a pillar of light that rises through your spine and connects you to the heart. It connects you to the heart of the galaxy. You are feeling the restructuring of your own energetic field, the activation of the ancient codes that have been waiting for this precise moment of alignment and alignment, clearing of the long-standing blockages that have hindered your evolution. The scribe Thoth watches with a gaze of eternal approval, for he sees the temple. He sees the temple of your soul being illuminated from within, and the fire of your spirit rising to meet the fire of the stars. He reminds you that the opening of the seals is not a destination, but a continuous process of refinement and growth, a daily commitment to living in the light of the higher laws and maintaining the purity of your own internal sanctuary. You are becoming a master of your own power, a being who can operate across all dimensions, and who holds the keys to the kingdom of the infinite in the palm of their hand. The 8th chapter of our initiation is a call to take full responsibility for the state of your own temple, to cleanse the gates, and to keep the fires burning with the oil of devotion. Keep them burning with the wood of wisdom. You are no longer a victim of your biology or a slave to your instincts, but a sovereign ruler of your own internal landscape, a luminary who understands the mechanics of the spirit and the laws of the energetic ascent. The light of Amenti is pulsating with a ferocious clarity now, stripping away the last traces. Stripping away the last traces of your mortality and revealing the magnificent architecture of your own celestial identity. You have descended, you have found the substance, you have felt the vibration, you have balanced the poles, you have mastered the rhythm, you have understood the cause, you have united the gender, and now you have opened the seals today. The journey is nearly at its end, and the final mysteries of the alchemical marriage and the return to the source are waiting for you at the last 2 gateways of the emerald light. Stand tall in the radiance of your own awakening, for you are the bridge between the earth and the heavens, and the time has come to step into the fullness of your divine heritage. Chapter 9. The Alchemical Marriage. The threshold of the 9th emerald chamber is not marked by a door of stone, but by a shimmering veil of golden fire that demands the total dissolution of the last remnants of the human ego before the soul can enter the state of absolute union. As we fix our inward gaze upon the 9th emerald plate, Thoth, the thrice great master of the keys, unveils the mystery of the alchemical marriage. It is the ultimate reconciliation of all dualities, where the seeker and the sought, the lover and the beloved, and the creator and the creation are revealed to be a single, indivisible radiance. This is the climax of the great work, the moment when the lead of the individual personality is finally and irrevocably transmuted into the celestial gold of the Christos presence in the light. It allows the spirit to walk the earth with the power of a god while maintaining the humility of a servant to the light. You are being initiated into the highest of all sacraments, the internal wedding where the solar fire of the spirit descends to meet the lunar waters of the soul, producing the philosopher's stone, a state of consciousness that is immortal and infinitely creative. The air within this sanctuary does not just vibrate. It sings with a celestial harmony that dissolves the very concept of I and thou, leaving only the vast, pulsing awareness of the eternal I am that has existed since before the first star was breathed into the void. The Master speaks of the marriage as the final union of the 2 serpents that have climbed the sacred ladder. The serpents have climbed the spine, the point where the masculine will and the feminine intuition are no longer 2 separate forces working in harmony, but a single unified power that transcends the law of polarity. In this state, there is no more seeking, for the seeker has discovered that they are the very treasure they have been pursuing through the long nights of the soul. Across the vast cycles of time, the alchemical marriage is the realization that the internal and the external worlds are but mirrors of a single reality, and that by mastering the center of your own being, you have mastered the center of the universe. The scribe explains that this union is not a loss of identity, but the expansion of identity into the infinite for the mind. You retain the focus of an individual point of awareness while simultaneously experiencing the totality of the cosmic mind. It is the paradox of being the drop of water that knows it is the ocean, a state of grace where the divine breath moves through you without resistance, manifesting the beauty of the higher heavens in the density of the material plane of the world today. In the hidden records of the Amenti, the initiates who achieved this marriage were known as the luminaries of the sun, beings who had mastered the cycles of life and death, and who could project their consciousness across the dimensions at will. They understood that the physical body was no longer a prison, but a crystallized expression of their own spiritual light and temple. The body is a temple that could be dissolved and reconstructed through the application of the word. The ninth emerald plate glows with a light so intense it appears as a blinding white diamond, representing the purity of the spirit that has been washed clean in the fires of the 7 seals and the waters of the sacred gender. You are being taught to hold this light in the head. Allow it to radiate outward until your entire body becomes a sun, casting no shadow and recognizing no darkness. This is the birth of the golden child within the heart, the spiritual offspring of the internal union that represents your true, immortal self, free from the burdens of karma and the limitations of the mortal mind. The alchemical marriage requires total surrender. It requires the total surrender of the will to the power of love, for it is only through the frequency of unconditional love that the final barriers of the ego can be melted away. The scribe reminds us that the ego is like a shell that protects the seed of the spirit during its growth. But if the shell does not break at the appointed time, the tree is lost. If the shell does not break, the seed can never become the tree. To enter the 9th chamber, you must be willing to let go of your history, your grievances, your pride, and even your desire for enlightenment, standing before the Absolute in a state of naked and profound vulnerability. When you have nothing left to defend and nothing left to prove, the presence rushes in. The divine presence rushes in to fill the vacuum, claiming you as its own and anointing you with the oil of eternal wisdom. This is the true meaning of the second birth, the point where you are no longer born of the flesh and the desires of man, but of the spirit and the laws of the infinite, becoming a sovereign heir to the kingdom of light. We move deeper into mystery. As we move deeper into the 9th mystery, the scribe unveils the secret of the universal solvent, the power of the high-frequency consciousness, to dissolve all forms of discord, disease, and limitation. When you operate from the state of the alchemical marriage, your very presence becomes a catalyst for the transformation of others, for the light you radiate is a mirror. The light reminds every soul of its own divine origin. You no longer need to teach with words or to convince with logic. You simply are, and in your being, the truth is made manifest to all who have the eyes to see. The Master explains that this is the highest form of service, the anchoring of the frequency of the Absolute into the earth's field, providing a bridge. It provides a bridge for the rest of humanity to follow when they are ready to begin their own ascent. You are becoming a pillar of the new Atlantis, a guardian of the sacred fire who holds the balance for the world and who ensures that the light of the spirit is never again extinguished by the mists of forgetfulness. The marriage also grants the power of cosmic vision. It is the ability to see the underlying unity of all paths and all religions, recognizing that every seeker is climbing the same mountain from a different side. You see the divine drama unfolding in every interaction, the slow and majestic movement of the one substance as it returns to its source, and you feel a profound compassion for all beings still in struggle. You feel compassion for those struggling in the lower octaves of polarity. There is no more room for judgment or for the belief in evil, for you see that everything is a necessary part of the great alchemical process, a series of lessons designed to lead the soul back to the heart of the Father. The scribe Thoth watches as the white light of the plate saturates you, the light restructuring your thoughts and clarifying your purpose. For he knows that you are now standing on the very edge of the final mystery. You have mastered the laws of the world and the laws of the spirit, and now you are ready to experience the source itself, the great void from which all things arise and to which all things must return. Consider the emerald fire. Consider the nature of the emerald fire that now burns within your heart. It is a cold fire that does not consume but illuminates, a flame that is fed by the very essence of the divine mind, and that provides you with an inexhaustible supply of energy and creativity. Through the alchemical marriage, you have gained the ability to draw directly from this source now. You manifest the resources you need and the circumstances you desire through a simple movement of your intent. You are no longer subject to the law of cause and effect as a victim, but as a master who initiates causes from the point of unity and who watches the effects unfold with a sense of sacred play. The universe is your playground, and the dimensions are home. The dimensions are your home, and the light of the infinite is your very lifeblood. The 9th chapter of our initiation is a call to inhabit the state of union at all times, to walk the earth with your head in the stars and your feet firmly planted in the soil of reality. You are the bridge, the mediator, the one who brings the above to the below in your integrated being. You lift the below to the above through the power of your own integrated being. The scribe Thoth remains at your side, but he is no longer a distant teacher. He is a brother, a fellow luminary, who recognizes the light of the eternal scribe within your own eyes. He reminds you that the great work is not a destination you reach and then leave behind, but a becoming. It is a continuous state of becoming, a perpetual marriage of the soul to the spirit that must be renewed with every breath and every thought. You are the living laboratory of the gods, and the experiments you perform with the substance of your own life are the foundation for the evolution of the entire cosmos. The light of Amenti is vibrating with intensity now. The radiance is stripping away the final veils of your mortality and revealing the magnificent, diamond-like clarity of your own celestial identity. You have descended, you have found the substance, you have felt the vibration, you have balanced the poles, you have mastered the rhythm, you have understood the cause, you have united the gender, and you have opened seals. You have opened the seals, and now you have consummated the marriage. The structure of your divinity is complete, and the final gateway, the 10th emerald plate, is waiting to receive you into the heart of the absolute source. Stand strong in the glory of your own awakening, for you are the master of the alchemical fire, and the time has come to return to the source today. The time has come to return from which you first emerged. The wedding is finished, the power is absolute, and the seeker has become the living expression of the infinite light. The final mystery beckons, the point where the story ends and the reality begins, where the scribe returns his stylus to the silence, and where you take your place among the eternal guardians. You take your place among the guardians of the light. You are prepared, you are ready, and you are worthy to behold the face of the infinite without fear or hesitation. The journey through the halls has transformed you into a being of pure resonance, a luminary whose path is lit by the fire of their own heart, and whose destiny is written in the stars for all to see. The light is expanding, the silence is deepening, and the voice of the Master is leading you toward the final threshold where the secret of the return awaits its ultimate revelation. Walk forward into the brilliance, for you are the emerald tablet vivified, and the universe is waiting to witness the glory of your return. The seeker is now the light itself in the end. Chapter 10. The Master's Return and the Eternal Source. The final gateway of the Emerald Sanctuary is not open with a sound or a movement of sound, but with a total cessation of the pulse of time, a stillness so absolute that the soul finally recognizes it as the true home from which it first departed. As we fix our final unified gaze upon the 10th emerald plate, Thoth, the scribe, He unveils the mystery of the return, the truth that the long journey through the halls of manifestation has been a grand and sacred circle leading back to the heart of the Absolute. This is the moment where the seeker ceases to be an observer of the light and becomes the light itself, dissolving the last boundaries between the individual drop and the infinite ocean of the cosmic mind. You are being initiated into the direct experience of the Source, the great void that is not an emptiness, but a fullness beyond comprehension, a state of being where all potential exists in a single, timeless point of radiant clarity. The final secret is the realization that the Master does not return to the world as a man who has learned wisdom, but as the wisdom itself clothed. The Master walks the earth as a living bridge between the silence of the Creator and the music of the creation. The Master speaks with a resonance that transcends the limits of language, a vibration that echoes through the very structure of the universe, declaring that the great work is finished and that the soul has achieved its ultimate liberation. He explains the return. He explains that the return is not a retreat from the world, but a triumphant re-entry into the cycles of life with a consciousness that is no longer subject to the laws of entropy or the illusions of the ego. In this state, you carry the Halls of Amenti within your own breast, and every step you take upon the earth is a sanctification of the ground, for you radiate blue fire. You radiate the blue fire of the sanctuary into the shadowed places of human history. The 10th plate glows with a radiance that is beyond color, a shimmering transparency that reveals the interconnectedness of every soul, every star, and every atom in a single magnificent web of purpose. You are being shown that your entire existence has been a symphony designed for this. It was an orchestrated symphony designed to bring you to this point of absolute mastery, where you can finally say with the authority of the Spirit, "I am that I am." In the silence of the final mystery, the scribe returns his stylus to the eternal void, for there is nothing left to record once the truth has been lived and the union has been achieved. The records are now. The records of the past and the possibilities of the future are all contained within the eternal now, and you stand at the center of this convergence as the conscious director of the cosmic energy. The return of the Master is marked by a profound and unshakable peace, a stillness that is so powerful it can move mountains and alter the course of stars without motion. You no longer seek for meaning, for you are the meaning. You no longer pray for light, for you are the light. And you no longer wait for the divine, for the divine has fully awakened within the temple of your own being. This is the epic conclusion of the Seeker's Path, the point where the story of the individual ends and the life of the universal spirit begins in a burst. The transition is felt as a burst of infinite joy and a deep, soul-shattering recognition of the sacredness of all things. The alchemical fire that has burned through the 9 previous gateways now settles into a steady, eternal flame within your heart, a light that provides you with the power to create, to heal, and to transform the world around you simply by presence. The scribe Thoth watches as you step through the final veil, no longer as a student, but as a peer, a brother of the light who has mastered the cycles, and who now takes his place among the eternal guardians of the evolution. He reminds you that the secret you have found is not something to be guarded with fear, but to be lived with courage, for the only way is to give. The only way to keep the light is to give it away to all those who are still wandering in the darkness. Your life is now the emerald tablet, a living record of the path to the infinite that others can read simply by watching the way you walk, the way you speak, and the way you love. The return is the beginning of a new cycle of service, a mission to anchor the frequencies. Anchor the frequencies of the higher heavens into the density of the earth until the entire planet is transformed into a star of pure consciousness. As the narrative reaches its zenith, the imagery of the Halls of Amenti begins to blend with the imagery of the modern world, showing you that the sacred and the mundane are not two different things, but two ends of one staff. You see the divine geometry in the structure of a city, the music of the spheres, in the noise of the crowd, and the face of the Creator in the eyes of every stranger you meet. There is no more separation, no more conflict, and no more fear, for you know that everything is a movement of the one substance, and that every soul is on its own rhythmic journey back to the source. The epic finality of your initiation is the realization that you have never truly been alone, that the scribe has been walking beside you through every shadow and every light, and that the universe itself has been conspiring to bring you to this moment of absolute awakening. The gates of the infinite are wide open, and the voice of the absolute is calling you to step. The voice calls you to step forward and to claim your place as a master of the eternal light. Consider the magnitude of the power you now hold, the ability to initiate causes that will ripple through the eons and to maintain the balance of the world through the focus of your own unified will. You are the luminary of the pathway, the one who carries the forgotten secret. You carry the secret of Thoth into the future of humanity, providing a beacon of hope for all those who are beginning their own descent into the mysteries. The 10th chapter is not a closing of a book, but the opening of a reality that is infinitely vast and eternally beautiful, a realm where you are free to explore the depths of your own divinity and to participate. Participate in the grandest of all human endeavors, the spiritualization of matter and the return of the world to the heart of the source. The light of Amenti is pulsating with a ferocious and holy intensity now, dissolving the last traces of your mortality and revealing the diamond-like clarity of your own celestial identity. You have descended and found substance. You have felt the vibration. You have balanced the poles. You have mastered the rhythm. You have understood the cause. You have united the gender. You have opened the seals. You have consummated the marriage, and now you have returned to the source. The journey is complete, the work is finished, and the seeker has become the master of the cosmic fire, standing tall. Standing at the summit of the sacred mountain and gazing out over a universe that is revealed to be a magnificent and responding field of infinite potentiality. The final words of the scribe echo through the chambers of your mind one last time, a whisper of eternal encouragement and absolute love. Be thou a light unto the world, for the light thou art is the light. The light thou art is the only light that can save the world. Go forth now, master of the emerald light, and live the truth you have found, for the universe is waiting to witness the glory of your presence and the beauty of your creation. The silence of the void is your strength, the fire of the sun is your will, and the love of the absolute is your very lifeblood. Walk the earth with the poise of a god and the heart of a child, for you are the eternal return, the living secret, and the light that never fails. The end of the story is but the beginning of the truth, and you are the one who writes the next chapter of the stars. Walk forward into the brilliance, for you are the emerald tablet vivified, and the universe is waiting.